Chelsea Football Club, I paid my money to watch the stream on the app or online, and it kept coming up, unable to view due to technical problem. There's nothing wrong with my software. I want my money back. Anyway, the only reason I got to see the last 10 minutes of the first half and the second half was because some dude on X was streaming it, the actual Chelsea Football Club feed, and I watched that because I'd paid for it. So I watched that. It's a joke. Shambles. Anyway, I just want to pick up this video about that game, what Enzo Maresca said after the game. Obviously a big signing for us and what appears to be an exodus and just some little things I've noticed along the way in this particular video, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it. So stick with me and let's get cracking with it. Starting with the game this afternoon. I missed their goal, saw the highlights of it. They walked straight through our midfield. Our two centre-backs not really coordinating and chatting to each other, Fofana and Chilwell, like the partner of the Red Sea. Ball through to Thuram, and I have to say, left foot right into the roof of the net, top corner. How to make an entrance, my word. What a finish. But they were able to bring it through midfield, a couple of little passes and a little pass diagonal to put him in, and we're all over the shop. And I'm severely worried about the first month or so of our season, the first couple of months, because defensively we still look really, really shaky. There's gaps everywhere. Midfield's not quite there. And the only way we're going to get to sort it all out and settle it all down is by playing the same team pretty much, or the same players, but for maybe one or two changes per game. The team and players to get used to each other. We did create quite a bit first half from what I saw of the highlights of it. Second half created a fair bit as well. It was clear that the only way we're going to beat them is down the width on each side. You know, you had Madueke first half, quite prominent. Cucurella obviously was busy. Cucurella got himself involved in some challenges, which I think they're going to be his undoing this season if he carries on doing that, because he's flying off a wave at the moment of popularity. With the way he finished the last 3 months of our season, obviously the Euros. But Cucurella is one of these that likes to play touch tight all the time. When he goes in, leaves his foot in, he's going to pick up loads of bookings this season, possibly red cards. And then the manager will be faced with an issue. But I'm going to get into that when I'm talking about some things I've noticed. Anyway, second half, Raheem Sterling, when he come on, very prominent. Mudryk did it a few times. Down that wing, beating the defender and getting to the byline, or getting round on the byline. Malo Gusto on the right-hand side again. And what's good to see is Malo Gusto and Cole Palmer again. That partnership on that right-hand side is key for us. I'm going to talk about Reece James in a little bit. But that partnership was key for us last season. It'll be key for us again this season. Will Palmer start the game against Man City? Or Cucurella? Or Jackson? We have to wait and see because they've missed most of pre-season. Anyway, we got our goal, which is a good goal to score. Leslie Oguchukwu got himself a goal. And Kunku come very close, but for a great stop from Sommer, the Inter Milan goalkeeper. It was pretty much full emotions, but what's sort of said after the game, Maresca said that he can see there's improvement on the ball. He can see improvement off the ball. And I'm sort of struggling to see it at the minute, I have to say, if I'm being totally honest. Struggling to identify with it, really. It pretty much looks same old to me. And again, a team comes to Stamford Bridge and sits in a low block, and we find ourselves having to go sideways, backwards and sideways. Whereas if we play with pace, and there was a few times in the game where, you know, we've pushed 3 or 4 players right up to their defensive line, but they're playing in front of them. And when you're a defender and you can see the attacker in front of you, it's so easy because you can look and you can monitor your movement. Whereas if you've got someone running in behind and the ball's played first time a lot, then you're going to force them to drop deep, to drop off, and that's where the space comes. That's where you can create the space and the openings. But let's see what happens anyway. But that was the first point I wanted to make, was the fact that he said he can see improvement. I'm sort of struggling because I still think it's the same as what we've seen before. A thing that I've noticed, obviously, is the situation with the fact that Reece James has done his hamstring again, and it's a massive blow for him. It's a massive blow for everyone. And all I can say is the owners are probably getting a little bit twitchy now when it comes to Reece James, because he's missed a massive chunk of the last couple of seasons because of his injury problems, his hamstrings and other injuries he's had. But for this to flare up again in pre-season, and it looks as though he's not going to make the Man City game, So Malo Gusto, who's been played and tried and tested on the left-hand side, had to come and start on the right. So if you think about it and think of the situation, you've got Renato Vega, who's an imposing player, by the way. When he came on second half, I thought, oh my God, look at the size of that dude. And he was well up for it. Great sliding challenge. He's giving all this to their fans. Love to see all that. He'll learn just to calm himself a little bit as far as the fans go. Anyway, when you're looking at the start of that game, you're thinking, well, Cucurella's only just turned up this week from training. Ben Chilwell's been there the whole time. And Chilwell sat his ass on the bench and never came on. He never started the game. Now, was it a chance for Maresca to look at Cucurella? Bearing in mind he's probably seen most of him. He said he's watched all the videos from last season. He's seen his performing in the Euros. So why can't he just work with him in the training? You know, why does he have to have a proper look at him? Because Chilwell's hardly played. And it's a big, big statement, I think, today. The fact that Ben Chilwell sat on his arse, warmed up a few times, just sat on his arse. And at one point, was sitting there chatting to Cucurella, looking out at Vega playing, and Gusto standing on the right-hand side thinking... And then even when they made a change late on and they took Gusto off, they put Casido on the right-hand side as right back. Very strange situation. So it doesn't look good for Ben Chilwell. And I honestly thought that was a chance for him to make a claim ahead of Man City next week. Chilwell's out the door. That's the only way I can see it. And I think Reece James has got to be twitchy now. And I think the owners will be twitchy as well. And think about this current situation that we're looking at. Beginning of last season, beginning of last season, beginning of the season before it. And I've even spoken about it on this channel ahead of this season, saying that if we can keep James and Chilwell fit, they'll be integral for us. And I'm now made to probably meet my words, really, because Chilwell's nowhere and Reece James is injured. So I'm worried about what the owner's going to do with that, I have to say. I think, as I said, Chilwell's out the door, and I think Reece James has got a problem now because I think he's sick note, unfortunately, and I hope he isn't. I hope he can get it resolved once and for all and be the player we all know that he can be. But when he's not playing and he's sitting on the bench behind the players with wearing his own clothes and his cap on today, sitting there in the heat, he's no use to us. And I'm thinking that's probably the mindset of the owners now. And it's worrying times, I have to say. The two stalwarts of our defence are nowhere. Times are changing. And hopefully not for the permanent when it comes to both of them. But if Chilwell's got to go, then hopefully not Reece James. Anyway, another thing obviously we need to talk about is the fact that Pedro Neto signed from Wolves. What a great signing he is. He's always played against us and played well, scored goals against us. He's thoroughly been a pain in the arse. Someone that can play both sides, someone that's busy, someone that's got a lot of experience. Now, on my last video, I said we ain't going to sign any experienced big-name players. He's not necessarily a big name, but he's an experienced player, and I'm pleased with that signing. The only thing that I'd say is his signing will now trigger a mass exodus. I'm reading reports that Sterling's up for sale as well. Raheem Sterling's up for sale, but because he's on reportedly £350,000 a week wages, they can't shift him off their books. They're going to be stuck with Sterling unless there's a loan move and things like that. I can just see there's going to be a massive exodus now. If you haven't seen it, if you go onto YouTube or go onto Twitter and look for The Overlap, the YouTube channel The Overlap, the fan debate with Carragher and Paul Scholes this time, and have a look at Alex Churchill's comment about Chelsea and the owners. It is spot on. It's absolutely brilliant. Just make sure you have a look at it. It's fantastic, I have to say. She pretty much turns around and says, about the fact that Chalobah's got to go. Gallagher's been sold because we need him off the books because it's poor profit. And it's the only way we can go with PSR or whatever it's called. And she basically said, well, stop buying everyone that's got a price tag on it and we won't have to sell our homegrown players. Stop buying rubbish. Stockpiling nonsense. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Anyway, Gallagher's gone. Shame. I felt the same way about Mason Mount. I feel the same way about Gallagher. I will feel the same way about Chalobah. It looks as though Liverpool or Man United maybe after Gurhey from Palace, and if he goes, they're going to try and replace him with Chalobah, which I think would be a great move. West Ham have just got rid of Zuma. Zuma's gone to Saudi. Could West Ham come in for Chalobah? I think you'll probably end up being a loan, possibly with an option to buy. But either one of those two clubs would be great for Chalobah. and Chalobah really demonstrates quality, which is something that, you know, you look at the two today, Fofana and Chilwell, there's a lot there they need to work on. Badiashile and Tosin are very, very imposing players. Could it be those two? And they're sitting Dizazi, sit on his arse all day, didn't even come on. And I like Dizazi. I don't get what people are saying about the fact that he was awful last season. I thought he grew into the season and got better. And unfortunate to lose his place at the end because you had Silva and Badiashile. But I thought Dizazi was decent. So another one that sat on his arse today, doing nothing. So there's a situation, as I said, the game today, you got the situation with Chilwell and now Reece James as well. We've got the Pedro Neto signing, which is brilliant. And then obviously what I've just been talking about. So there's all sorts of stuff that's going to be happening at Chelsea. There's going to be a mass exodus triggered between now and the end of the season. You're going to see numerous players leave, whether it's permanent deals or whether it's a loan with an option to buy or just a loan move. I really hope we keep hold of Mark Guig. I think he's got a lot to offer us. There's rumours, obviously, that we're going to sign this other dude, Amoridon or Amorodian, whatever his name is, and he could potentially be loaned out. He's not going to come in to the first team squad and be part of the squad because Chelsea is still pushing for Victor Osimhen. I think that job, as I said to you in the last video, I can't see it happening unless Napoli sort of loosen their demands and accept like an installment kind of a deal or a loan with an obligation to buy, because they want Lukaku. We want rid of him. Conte wants Lukaku. Osimhen wants to go. So let's just see what happens. But I think the revolving door at Chelsea Football Club will be swinging right through into between now and the end of the season. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see at least 10 to 15 players go. And I think it's just a state of things. Obviously, I'm going to follow up this particular video with another one titled Exodus, and that'll be out soon. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But hopefully you've enjoyed this little bit of content this evening on a Sunday night after the pre-season's finished and all eyes on Man City. And I can't help but think that it's going to be one where you're going to sit there and think, my God, I'm dreading this. And I am. Anyway, we could. Up front, we look decent with the combinations we could have up front. Looks good. Midfield's got to sort themselves out defensively as well, but let's see what happens. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that bell for notifications when my videos come out. Thanks so much for watching, and let me know what you think in the comment section. Have a good day. Good day. Said you finished. Have a good week. See you soon.